Discovery is running with 3 major plot points at the moment, and this episode seeks to advance all, without letting any singular development fall behind. Rick here again with a review of episode 12 of Discovery, Vaulting Ambition. We continue the Terran Empire situation, the Tyler Vox status reaches a breathing point at least, and Stamets jumps from the frying pan into the fire. Episode 12 does a good job of balancing these story arcs with each other, and I didn't find myself impatient to return to any particular subplot. Maybe the L'Rell scenes were the weakest, but that's not to say they weren't engrossing. It's just that the other 2 plot lines were providing answers to long-time speculations, but we can go into those later, as this episode was mostly exposition and making sure that we, the audience, are all on the same page. So let's look at some details, shall we? Notice the TNG-style sound effect of the cargo bay doors opening that played as the shuttle departed for the Imperial Palace. Nice touch, but I would have preferred the shuttle bay alarm. So it turns out the data on the USS Defiant, despite being accessible to any Imperial captain, and only the captains, is heavily redacted. I like how the reason for this isn't something to do with classified technologies or even the fact it's from another universe, but for the ideals of the Federation, peaceful cooperation, unity, all words that the Empire cannot allow to persist. Lorca's numbing agent comes into play later, foreshadowing his escape, while Burnham confesses coming face to face with the Empress is like reaching a personal reckoning for her. The Imperial flagship, the Palace, the ISS Karen, looks like a... I don't know. What's that underneath it? Power source? Disco ball? I'm interested to see what this ship's function is, but from appearances it looks like a massive flying city, almost. Its design is unlike any Federation vessel, but then again it's not a Federation vessel, and the United Federation of Planets wouldn't invest in building something as opulent as the ISS Karen. Meanwhile, on the USS Discovery, we learn that Tilly's continued work on Stamets' condition has allowed him to regain his consciousness in a way in the mycelial network, where his mirror self awaits. What kind of dastardly, moustache-twirling villain is this Stamets? What kind of depraved, evil scientist can he be? Wait, what? Did he just crack a joke? He's polite? I guess he really is the reverse of our Stamets. Should have seen that coming. But oh my god, the lens flare. Seriously, what the hell? Can barely see what's going on. Also, Stamets makes several references to the mycelial network being a form of hell, even calling his mirror self a form of Virgil come to show him through his life. This is all played off as sarcasm on both their parts, but it serves to further mystify the network and its relationship to life and death. So, Mirror Stamets has been in the network for a lot longer than our Stamets, however, and our astromycologist's flashes into the mirror universe have been through his mirror counterpart's psyche trying to connect with himself. But there's something not right in the network, a corrosion that seems to be degrading the fungal web, while at the same time the network is attempting to absorb its interlopers. Burnham presents Lorca to the Empress, and this looks to be fun, as she literally has no idea how she should act when confronting Georgiou. She's going to have to read the situation and adapt. Last episode, she didn't even know who the Emperor was, let alone her relation to her. And then we learn that Burnham was raised by Georgiou in this universe, and the expectations shift. Maybe Burnham can talk her way out of this, if they share a familial bond. Also, choose your Kelpian! Yeah, wonder what that's for. Probably not important. So now we pick up with Tyler Vox, who seems to be raging in his restraints, and I caught the medical staff saying he'd already broken machinery and was currently sedated. Although Tyler momentarily resurfaces, pleading for help, I'll be honest, I was expecting more of Vox in a cell as they questioned him, and his feelings for Burnham and L'Rell drove him between his mental states. What we got was rabid Klingon trying to headbutt everything that moved, but Discovery has repeatedly circumvented expectations while telegraphing its bigger plot twists episodes ahead. Also, Ash Tyler was a real officer. Ah, dinner with royalty for Burnham. Maybe she can buy her way onto the Empress's good graces. I should really stop calling her Georgiou though, with titles like Regina Andor to fall back on. Wait, did she say Kelpian? Oh. Oh no. Well, Saru is delicious, apparently. So next argument Burnham has with him, she can perhaps threaten to eat him. I guess technically it's not cannibalism, they are different species. But what is Discovery's beef with having different races eat each other? But of course the tables shift as Burnham does not know the personal history of the Empress, Lorca and herself, and soon Burnham is hauled off for collaboration, which raises the question, what's the full story here? Lorca got her killed, didn't he, or was responsible for her death, last we heard? Revealing the truth about her origins spares Burnham's life, and it was awesome to see the mention of the Prime timeline result in the execution of all present. Redacted indeed. It seems that knowledge of the Federation is completely prohibited in the Empire. Also, good job, Lord Erling. When the big bad asks you to keep a secret, you just say yes and get the out. Soon, the Empress deduces that they can't have crossed over through interphasic space due to obvious reasons, so they must have had a different method of traversing realities. She proposes a trade, Discovery's way to freedom, in return for the spore tech. I guess her version of Stamets's research wasn't amounting to much? So, Saru plays hardball again with L'Rell, pointing out that Vok is in torment and needs to be stabilised one way or another. L'Rell declines to help undo her house's mental work, and Saru eventually breaks down her resolve, using her feelings for Vok against her. Culturally speaking, Klingons are very ready to sacrifice for their own sense of honour their house, and L'Rell would not deprive Vok of this. This is the reason that Saru had to be so heavy-handed with her to gain her cooperation. Still, the stabilisation seems to work, but it returns Vok to a state seemingly closer to Tyler than the Klingon she knew. She then howls, perhaps in anguish, frustration, or even perhaps a death howl for the spirit of Vok. Is he gone for good now then? Well, L'Rell seems to think so. Meanwhile, Lorca has to act like his mirror counterpart, but that all begins to fall away when Captain Maddox enters and makes it personal. Even redecorating the brig with one of Lorca's former soldiers doesn't really help, because Lorca just doesn't know. Does he? Does he? Anyway, Hugh appears to Stamets. Quite how he's in the network I don't understand. I mean, I get the line from Tilly earlier saying that fungi has a unique relationship between life and death, but whatever, I'll suspend my disbelief long enough because, damn, this was an emotional scene. Culber informs Stamets that, amongst informing Stamets of what's happened, Culber also informs him that the counterpart, Mirror Stamets, may in fact not be all he seems, as he is the one responsible for the damage done to the network. But how does he know this? Questions for later, hopefully. Stamets then resolves to wake up, which is now possible thanks to Tilly's research, with the spore drive connection to him. So great, he's awake again, but oh, whoops. No, wait, hang on. This could work out well, but man, now that the Stamets have switched places and now you've got Prime Timeline Burnham on the Shenzhou with the Mirror Universe and Mirror Lorca and the Shenzhou, things are going to get confusing. And then Lorca's escape, feigning death. Maddox releases him to revive him, and the reveals that Georgiou lays out for Burnham to piece together, playing alongside Lorca's struggle, works really well as a powerful revelation. You know, if people didn't work this out much earlier. This is what I mean about Discovery's plot points. The smaller events often defy expectations, but the larger reveals are kind of, well, they're revealed a little too early. Anyway, in summary, this episode served as a mixture of advancing the plot, but mostly to ensure that all the people watching are on the same page, bringing answers to ongoing suspicions with some little flourishes here and there. It was good to see some Stamets talking fungus again, rather than seeing him do an impression of a mushroom, as he's probably my favourite character. So, with all that tied up, what did you think? Was it a little slow or too much going on? Characters seem more defined by now, so let's hope for no more of those out-of-character actions from early Discovery episodes. But the important question remains, what did you think of the Karen? I've been Rick, and this has been the review of episode 12 of Star Trek Discovery. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you, I guess, next week. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.